Sports.
We are Blackhawks. We are Florida.
Downtown Miami, Marlins Park, of course, the site of the old Orange Bowl. The Marlins and the Blue Jays. Hyundai presents Sunday Baseball. The Blue Jays have taken the first 2 games of this series. The Marlins trying to stop this June slide. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton. It has been agonizing for Marlin fans to watch, Tommy. The Marlins themselves have wondered, when will it stop? When will rock bottom come?
Well, I think rock bottom came today, Rich. If you looked at the newspaper, you saw the Marlins in last place. In the National League East, rock bottom has come. Ozzie had a few comments after the game, hoping to try to get some of the energy back in this team.
To get some energy and to turn it around, you have to go out on the field and aggressively take that. And I think for the Marlins, need some inspiration. Just look across the diamond at what the Blue Jays have done in the first 2 games of this series.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. The Toronto Blue Jays have scored runs in many different ways in this series, but how about the runs in Game 1? They got a run on a sacrifice fly by Kelly Johnson. How about another sacrifice fly by Kelly Johnson? First game, they scored 6 runs without the benefit of the hit. How about Game 2? Safety squeeze. They got a run across the plate. You know what? It worked one time. They did it again. This one was bobbled by Cishek. All in all, in the 2 games, they have scored 8 runs without the benefit of a base hit.
Yesterday, Josh Johnson pitched terrifically. That wasn't enough. Today, Mark Burley goes out on the mound, and the Marlins are seeing a guy that has not been a starter much in his career and has kind of been patched in to this Blue Jay rotation.
You know, Jesse Chavez, they've seen a little bit with Atlanta and Pittsburgh, but out of the bullpen, making just his second start this year in the big leagues. Mark Burley has seen the Jays a lot. 6-4 in his career with an ERA in the 2s, so he's pitched well against Toronto.
Mark Burley, Jesse Chavez. The Miami Marlins need a win. They go after it. And Mike Dunn trying to get some liftoff as well. Marlins desperately need a win. The Fish, having dropped both games of this series, they've lost 15 of 17, and not to pile on, but 6 in a row. Yesterday, a crushing loss with the Blue Jays coming from behind. Let's go back out to Jeff Conine and Craig Minervini.
All right, we're going to keep with the theme of not piling on at all. A little lighter moment here for the Marlins. And Mike Dunn is back, done a good job last couple of outings, no runs. He struck out a couple since his return on June 21st. A better job pitching than as a pilot, though. He has struggled with his model plane that he tried to launch. Before we show you this, he tried to first, I guess, take off near the clubhouse somewhere.
Well, when I walked in, he was holding it in his hands, and the plane was somewhat glued together, and he looked at the remote control, and he told me that he had no idea how to even make the thing turn on. So it was in the clubhouse, and he's flipping all the switches, and he finally flipped one of them, and the engine started, and it started going for the door of the clubhouse. So he shut everything down. He said, we need to take this outside.
All right, so let's see what happened when he took it outside, and our cameras were there to record every moment. Here it is. Don't blink. What happened?
Crash and burn, Mav.
Yeah.
Crash and burn.
Let's see what he had to say about it.
We looked at the YouTube video on how to fly the plane after we tried to fly the plane, and we're super glued it all back together. We're gonna give it another run and see if it'll hold together. You know, this might just be a practice plane. Might have to order another one.
Now we don't know. Here it is again, taking off, and down it goes. We'll try to follow if they get another plane or they can.
I love this shot right here. The propeller, like,
Oh,
it's dying. It's it's about ready to go.
it's like a fish you brought on board. It's just the last life.
And he says, I don't know if it's going to work because he had to glue all the flaps. So there's no flaps working right
I
now.
wouldn't want to board it. I'll tell you that. We'll keep you updated though if Dunn takes off part 2. We'll see if the Marlins can take off, get a win here. There's 6 more games to go on the homestand following this one here today. So plenty of time here to turn it around. Still have a good homestand, but a win today would go a long way toward turning it around. Rich and Tom with the ball game next. Enjoy it.
Start as the Blue Jays and the Marlins get ready to go. Mark Buehrle has been out on the mound, and Buehrle, if he could start the game at 1 o'clock straight up, he would. Here's Pinchapenny's first pitch, and Buehrle delivers a fastball that misses in to Brett Lawrie, Colby Rasmus, Jose Bautista of the suddenly hot Blue Jays coming to the plate. Buehrle twice has tried to get that inside corner. Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire, will have none of it. Those are Buehrle's numbers. This is start number 15. He got the outside part And that pitch may have been out a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a rough month of June for Mark Buehrle. 0-4, and his ERA is over 5. But you know, with the consistency that he takes out there every 5 days, that he's going to get back on a nice little winning trend.
2-2 pitch is hit in the air to left field and deep. Back goes Morrison. Track, wall, and has it at the 386 sign. Boy, the way things have gone, you expected that ball to sail out of here. But Morrison got to the wall. He felt for it, Tommy, and then made a nice catch.
Yeah, good timing by Logan Morrison. And right now, Brett Lawrie's thinking about Rogers Center. He's thinking about where they're going next, Fenway Park. Would have been way out of both of those places. And well timed by Lomo. Lawrie can't believe it.
Rasmus goes after the first pitch. He pops it up, and it's foul and out of play. Colby Rasmus, a home run yesterday, not just a home run, a grand slam in the 9th inning, the ill-fated 9th for the Fish. Rasmus with the grand slam. The Blue Jays also had that safety squeeze that drove in a run. Off-speed pitch in the air out to center. Cousins is there, and Scott Cousins makes the catch. Blue Jays lineup has remained essentially the same. Little changes behind the plate. Lawrie, Rasmus, and now here comes Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion, a big home run in that 9th inning last night. Yunel Escobar, Rajay Davis, Kelly Johnson, J.P. Arancibia doing the catching. And Jesse Chavez makes just his 2nd big league start. Bautista uncoils on a changeup and was way out in front. It's 0-1.
Yeah, if you think about it, the Jays with the grand slam, with the safety squeeze, they played a little long ball, a little small ball against the Marlins.
Bautista knows that Buehrle likes to work quickly, and Bautista looks like he likes to hit quickly. Gets out, doesn't get out of the box much.
I think all hitters should do that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, both these guys are working at a great pace.
And Bautista has seen Buehrle 22 times, 7 for 22. He's hit 1 home run. There are the numbers, so they're familiar with each other.
See what he gets, 2-2. Breaking ball that's down low. Bautista having another terrific year, home run wise. 23 homers, 55 driven in. He's homered in 3 of his last 5 games. Homered in game 1 of this series. He takes outside. Good at bat by Bautista. Now here comes Encarnacion, the second half of that duo. Here's the Marlins defense brought to you by Cleveland Clinic.
And we saw Lomo, Cousins, and Stanton in that outfield. Hanley and Jose Reyes and Fonte. Greg Dobbs with the start today at first base. And John Buck behind the plate for Dobbs. It's start number 6 as the first baseman.
Now Encarnacion. He led off that 9th inning with a home run against Steve Cishek, breaking the 1-1 tie. He ended up with 2 hits that inning. He was 2 for 4 in that ball game. He's driven in 2 runs this series. Buehrle catches the outside corner. Encarnacion, much like Bautista, blooming late in his career. He's 29. He spent 10 years with the Reds organization, 5 of those in the big leagues. Showed flashes of power, Tommy. In 2008, he hit 26 home runs in a very homer-friendly field in Cincinnati.
Part of you want to say he looks like a better hitter here. He hit in a very hitter-friendly park at Great American Ballpark when he was with Cincinnati. But I think you add everything together, working with Dwayne Murphy, the hitting instructor, having guys like Bautista around him and some other good hitters, it's made a difference, and just give him credit for improving, making adjustments.
He, unlike Bautista, doesn't have an extensive history against Buehrle. Buehrle steps off, Encarnacion steps out. Yunel Escobar is the hitter on deck. The Blue Jays have risen to 37 and 34 despite the huge losses they've had in their starting rotation. No swing, says Lance Barrett down at first. Brandon Morrow, Kyle Drabeck, Drew Hutchinson all out. And you got to give John Farrell a lot of credit. His ball club has been aggressive. They coaxed 6 innings out of Brett Cecil, giving up just a run yesterday. Ricky Romero was splendid on Friday. Runner on the move and a fly ball to left. Morrison coming in makes the catch. And Mark Burley gets through the first. Marlins get their first swing. In this one, Marlins going to the bottom of the first, and they'll trot out this lineup against the Jays. Jose Reyes, Hanley Ramirez, Giancarlo Stanton. Logan Morrison hits cleanup. Greg Dobbs is going to hit 5th and play first. Omar Infante, Scott Cousins in center field. John Buck hits 8th, and Mark Burley hits 9th.
Kind of a different look the offense will see today compared to the first 2 games of this series. First 2 games saw left-handers. Last night it was Brett Cecil, then Ricky Romero the night before, and today it's Jesse Chavez, a hard-throwing right-hander, a guy who has spent all of his career as a major leaguer working out of the bullpen. He started last time, and that was his first and only start in the big leagues. So here he is, back-to-back starts, and in his last start against Milwaukee, he only went 2 2/3 innings.
Reyes leading it off. Fastball for a strike. Jose Reyes was one of the more outspoken Marlins yesterday after the Marlins lost to the Jays. Players only meeting. Reyes pointing the finger at his team and pointing the finger at himself, saying that the Marlins have to be more aggressive. They have to play better, perform better. And he said it starts with me.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Reyes starts this game by reaching base and he's heading the count 3-1, look for him to take off and try to pick up his 17th stolen base and try to create something.
3-1 pitch right down the middle. So Reyes has seen 5 pitches from Chavez. Chavez has always been a name that you've heard in baseball because he's been involved in a lot of trades ever since Texas took him in 2002 with the 42nd pick, 42nd round pick out of Fontana, California. There's 3-2. Fastball popped foul and out of play. He was traded to Pittsburgh in the Kip Wells trade in 06. Traded to Tampa Bay for Akinori Iwamura. Traded to Atlanta for Rafael Soriano. A 5-player deal. And he was traded to Kansas City in July of 2010. Liner to left. Rajay Davis makes the catch. And here are the Jays defensively, brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah, as Rich mentioned, not a whole lot of changes. Davis, Rasmus, Bautista in that outfield. Laurie, Escobar, Johnson, Encarnacion. The only change, Aaron Sebia behind the plate in this one. It was Jeff Mathis catching yesterday's ball game.
Hanley Ramirez, you've got Giancarlo Stanton right behind him. Hanley has 3 hits in this series. A 1 for 4 afternoon yesterday. And Chavez throws a strike. The home and road splits for Hanley, and maybe of more alarm is the month of June. Since June 3rd, Hanley doesn't have a homer, and he's driven in just 1 run. That came in game 1 of this series. Up the middle, Escobar, quick release. And a nice play. There are 2 outs.
There have been a number of times that Hanley's been jammed badly just like that during this month. Well, we talked a little bit about Jesse Chavez. We might as well give you the Coventry Healthcare scouting report. Claimed off waivers, coming to Toronto. Has power stuff, good fastball. Keep in mind, easy to run on, but you got to get on base first.
A reliever in spring training, when he didn't make the club and they sent him out, they decided to try to stretch him out and see if he could start. Stanton is clipped by that fastball, and so Giancarlo will take his base. Marlins have a base runner with 2 outs and Logan Morrison coming up.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is you see Chavez's fastball just clip Giancarlo on that elbow, maybe catching the pad. He had 12 starts in Las Vegas. Prior to that, he'd not started in the minor leagues or anywhere since 2004 in A-ball.
Yeah, he had made 144 relief appearances in the big leagues before his first start, which was his last appearance. Now Morrison, and Morrison takes a strike. For Morrison, a frustrating day yesterday. Lomo struck out twice, popped out twice, and he was 0 for 4. Chavez misses away, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The Marlins certainly have faced stiff competition here in June, but they faced good competition in May when they were on their great run. Morrison pulls a diving stop there, scrambling to his feet and getting to the bag is Encarnacion, the former third baseman, showing some range and some skills. Look at this play. In high definition, fun at the ballpark. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. He's got the blue lips going. That's nice. Mark Burley right back to work. Slow breaking ball for a strike. Yunel Escobar, Rajai Davis, and Kelly Johnson. Coventry, second inning. Tapper to third. Hanley short hops it, and Dobbs does a nice job of picking it out of the dirt.
Well, that was a nice play all around. That could have been a whole lot of trouble because Hanley, kind of a do or die. He knows he has to charge. He gets that in-between hop, then across his body with the throw and a backhand pick by Dobbs over first base. Beautiful. Good on both ends.
We've said this about Gabby Sanchez at first base. I think it holds true with Hanley at third. Even though the month of June has not been a good month for him offensively, defensively, he has continued to play at a very high caliber.
His offensive woes at times when he's been up and down have not affected his defense at all.
Rajai Davis slams that one into left field. And he's got a base hit. First hit of the ball game for either team. Kelly Johnson is coming up. If you've got a group and you want to bring them out to Marlins Park, there's a variety of spots where you can stay. A variety of unique group areas. The Fiesta Suites out there in right field. The bullpen zone. Of course, there's the Clevelander and the Budweiser balcony. Enjoy air-conditioned comfort, great food options, and premium entertainment. 1-877 Marlins. Go to marlins.com today. Davis has got that pad on his left hand as he gets his lead away from first. Kelly Johnson digs in. Mark Burley tough to run on. Rajai Davis, though, a good base stealer. There it is, oven mitt-like. He does have a spot for his thumb to come out. And Burley goes over.
Well, Burley knows that Davis, one of the guys that will steal, 17 steals. And the interesting matchup with Kelly Johnson, the hitter. Kelly Johnson has a lifetime batting average about 35 points higher against lefties. He's always hit left-handers pretty well.
Turns away from that inside fastball. Nissan presents leaders of the game in the American League. Mike Trout, the rookie, with 20 stolen bases, but Rajai Davis and Jason Kipnis with 17 apiece. Johnson blasts one to left center. Morrison lines it up. Davis is tagging, and he's coming, and he's going to be out by a bunch.
Wow.
Not sure what Rajai Davis was thinking. He had that in front of him. Maybe he thought Morrison's throw was offline. But he is out. Here's a look at it. Watch him hesitate right there and then start again.
presentado en SAP por Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Welcome back, Marlins Park, as the Marlins try to snap this slide. 6 in a row they've lost, 15 of the last 17. And they've got Mark Burley out there, who's worked quickly and delivered the game to the bottom of the second. Scoreless right now. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, our entire Fox Sports Florida broadcast crew. John Sulzer, our critically acclaimed producer. Jim Hawley, our generally well-liked director. Ken Lee, always lauded by those in the industry. Greg Dobbs, Omar Infante, Scott Cousins. Chavez misses outside.
And one thing that Dobbs and Chavez have in common, they both attended Riverside Community College. You talked about Chavez, drafted by the Rangers in '02 out of Riverside Community College. Trying to break up the shift. They have that big shift on again.
And that shift is one that has a little wrinkle in it, because it's got the third baseman, Brett Laurie, all the way out in right field. That's Laurie out there.
Usually you'll see the third baseman go over where Kelly Johnson is, in that area, in the second baseman. But the Blue Jays feel Laurie is the most athletic out there. And so they like him in that role, covering a lot of ground.
Talked to John Farrell about the defensive shifts, and it's he said what a lot of managers are saying now, with all the information you've got on hitters, you're wise to do it. He said in Boston against the Red Sox with Adrian Gonzalez, they put Laurie almost in the same spot, but in straightaway center field, very similar to a rover in a softball game. And he said he got 4 balls out there in straightaway center. 2-2 to Dobbs. And Dobbs crosses him up. Pokes it down the left field line around first. He's got a base hit.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a thinking man's hitter. Now, we'll watch the next time Dobbs comes up, if there's nobody on, if they have the shift on like that again.
How sweet is this?
That's beautiful.
Because the interesting thing is, if you're going to shift Dobbs like they did, you can't pitch him on the outside.
You can't pitch him that way. That's right.
Those are his hits by direction.
I think one of the interesting things in talking to the teams in the American League East, we've had a chance to see Tampa and Boston, of course, Toronto now. And we know all the times they're the leaders in shifting, the Tampa Bay Rays. I found out today that Baltimore shifts a lot. So you have 3 teams right there in the AL East who put a lot of shifts in effect.
A strike to Omar Infante. Infante drove in a big run in yesterday's ball game. The Marlins were down 1-0. Remember, the Jays got a run without a hit on the safety squeeze against Josh Johnson in the second. And Infante scored Justin Ruggiano in the 7th with an RBI double. However, a key point in the ball game, the Marlins got Infante to third. Gabby Sanchez moved him over with a ground ball.
Great AB by Gabby.
And in a 1-1 game, with Josh Johnson's spot a couple away, Sanchez moved him over. Brett Hayes came up, and Hayes, unable to get that run across, he struck out. There's a breaking ball off the end of the bat. Now, what happened there, the results were twofold. Number one, the Marlins had to pinch hit because there were 2 outs. Number 2, they had to take Josh Johnson out of the ballgame, and that changed the whole thing. Marlins didn't get that run, and it changed how Ozzie Guillen used his bullpen later in the game.
If the Marlins get that run, J.J. had plenty left in the tank, and with his pitch count in the low 90s, he would have gone out and pitched the 8th inning.
And this is not to single out Brett Hayes. The Marlins, over the last 17 games, have lost 15. And you can go up and down the lineup and talk about moments in games where just about every individual hasn't come through. Infante was cold for a stretch. Although his bat has come to life, he's hit in 5 straight. We've seen Stanton struggle. We've seen Morrison struggle. We've seen Hanley grow cold. 0-2 pitch. And it misses. It's 1-2. Reyes has been probably the most consistent hitter in the month of June for the Marlins. Bottom of the order has had its issues and continues to have its issues. So it's team wide. It's not just one individual. And Infante hooks that one down in the corner again. Dobbs around second, headed for third, and he'll hold there. And so Omar Infante, another double, his 18th of the season. And now the Marlins are set up with runners at second and third, and nobody out.
Good AB by Omar, and he got a pitch up. He's able to hook it down that line. If it gets past the left fielder, Rajay Davis, Dobbs scores, but Davis has good speed. Got over to cut it off, and with nobody out, there's no sense for Joe Espada to take any chances with Dobbs.
And here, Tommy, is one of those at-bats that can turn a game one way or the other.
Here's one of those, one of my all-time favorites. If you hit the ground ball to the right side, you get 2 for 1. You get a run, and you move Infante over to third.
So it's Scott Cousins up there now against Chavez. Infield back. Liner into left. That's a base hit. How about that? Dobbs will score. Runner stopped on the bobble by Davis. Joe Espada had the stop sign up, and as Davis bobbled it, then he tried to restart Infante, but Omar had already put the brakes on. And so the Marlins have runners at the corners.
Well, a ground ball or even a base hit. How about that? Base hit by Cousins, gets the run in, and also moves the runner over to third. Yeah, once the stop sign was put on, again with nobody out, there's no sense to try to get him going again. There's a stop. There's a rewind by Joe Espada, but a little bit late at that time.
So Cousins drives in a run. And here is Buck at the corners. Buck drives it center, deep, way back, gone! 3-run shot. Well, that's got to feel good for John Buck. And a 4-0 lead.
Quite frankly, Rich, I don't know how to act right now. It's been a while, and boy, does it feel good and look good, and I'm sure it's the same in that dugout.
That was crushed.
3-run blast at the base of the home run sculpture. First thing I looked at was Colby Rasmus, the center fielder. This ball is hit hard. Look at Rasmus right there. He gives up on it because he knows it's out right at the base of the sculpture.
A Clevelander Poole home run. They're looking at the bat almost to see if it was broken or not.
That's amazing if it is to hit a ball that far.
Ball in the dirt, and Burley takes it. The count's 1-2.
And John Buck doing it against a team that he was an all-star for in 2010.
Channeling his inner Blue Jay.
The Canadian anthem got him going.
That's right. Once he heard "Oh Canada," he knew it was going to be a good day. And Jesse Chavez having some issues right now for the Blue Jays. He strikes Burley out. So an out in a 4-0 ball game here in the second. All season long, Fox Sports is proud to support Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Reyes now. Reyes lined to left his first time up.
You were talking, Rich, about some of the comments Jose Reyes made after the game yesterday, probably being a little hard on himself because he's been a positive in the month of June.
Absolutely, but you love to hear that from a veteran player. And the Marlins do have some veteran players. It's one of the differences that the Marlins have, I think, in this unit as opposed to last year or years past. They've got some veteran guys that can and should step up in situations like this, and Reyes yesterday did. 411 feet on the Buck home run. Hanley was part of calling the team meeting. Swing and a miss, and Reyes goes down.
And of course, Ozzie, never one to hold back, basically said what I've seen is terrible and pathetic. And he said it's from everybody, me, my coaching staff, the players. But I'm sure what he's seen so far, he's liked today.
And the Ramirez has bounced out, and he takes a strike. Well, the Marlins not only have 4 runs on the board, but look where the runs came from. They came from the bottom of the order.
What was it? We were in Boston. We were talking about the 6, 7, and 8 hitters leading the major leagues with the lowest batting average. So that's great to see. Production from there.
Chavez misses outside. And it's 2-0.
Not the 2-0 pitch Hanley was hoping to get.
Papa John's Fox Tracks. See that Chavez has been around the plate despite a 2-2 count. Flips up a breaking ball, and Hanley pops it up. Encarnacion is there, and he makes the catch. But the Marlins explode for 4 runs. John Buck, the biggest of the swings, a 3-run shot into the sculpture. 4-0. brought to you by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Papa John's. Right now at Papa John's, get any large pizza, even specialties, for only $12. And by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. Inside Marlins Park, 4-0. Marlins on top. John Buck with a 3-run homer. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Hey, thank you very much, Rich. We're going to talk about JP Arancibia at the plate now. Some guys from Miami may say they're Marlins fans. That's not the case with JP. He not only says it, he was a huge Marlin fan. In fact, he even came up to me and said, "Hi, I've been watching you." One of those lines my whole life. But JP went to Westminster Christian, and he tied Alex Rodriguez's career record with 17 home runs there. A terrific player in 3 sports, in basketball and also in football. And he went to the game where Edgar Renteria had the big hit. He also said, "I went to the very first game in Marlins history. My favorites," he threw Niner in there, Cliff Floyd, but Benito Santiago, Mike Lowell. And like Santiago, he throws the ball very well from the crouched position. He has a terrific arm, and he's great power also in the minor leagues. And one other thing about Arancibia as he runs and beats out this infield grounder for a base hit is he hit the very first pitch he saw in the major leagues back in August of 2010 for a home run. The last Blue Jay to do that, you have to go back to 1989, and it was Junior Felix, who of course was in the Marlins opening day lineup back in 1993. Guys?
Some nice symmetry there. Arancibia's parents, both born in Cuba, and he played his college ball at the University of Tennessee after, as Craig pointed out, a record-setting stay at Westminster Christian. Chavez trying to bunt, and he pops it off the plate. It ends up in foul territory.
By the way, that major league debut of JP Arancibia, he hit another home run. He went 4 for 5 and hit 2 home runs in that game. So that's a nice debut.
Chavez calls timeout. Now remember, this is a guy that's been a relief pitcher his entire career. After he didn't make the big club out of spring, they suggested he try starting, and they've stretched him out. And this is just his second big league start. And that one is fouled off.
Yeah, Brian Butterfield, third base coach, just basically said to Chavez, forget the signs, forget all that. I'm doing this. Don't look at that. That's to deceive the other dugout, the other team. You're bunting, period. Don't swing the bat. You're bunting.
Kind of has a look of a slender Carlos Ruiz, doesn't he?
Burley has such a good move to first base that Chavez offered it that last throw to first.
Yeah. He picked the. He's trying to pick the runner and the hitter off. Fastball's up. And it's 1-2. Mark Burley's got a 4-0 lead. The Marlins on top. And now, it'll be interesting to see how the Marlins play with this 4-0 lead. I mean, they've had some leads in this stretch that have evaporated. And so as a manager, as a ball club, you're hopeful that the Marlins smell a little blood in the water and they keep their foot down and keep the gas on.
Well, yeah, absolutely, with the offense and with the pitching.
How many bad analogies did I use in that?
It was all right, though. We were talking about the offense and how it's been a collective thing with everybody. On May 10th, the team ERA was 3.16. I believe at that time the Marlins were third in the National League. Since that time, the team ERA has been 5.30.
Laurie now. Arancibia is still at first base. Fights off a fastball. It's 0-1. Laurie is just a bundle of energy. And these two guys, Burley and Laurie, for a 110 start, it was like 107, and they were both out there ready to go. Laurie was like, let's go, give me something to hit, and Burley was like, let's go, give me something to throw.
And the home plate umpire, Lance Barrett, was saying, hold on.
It's 110.
It's a 110 start.
You want to be on national television in Canada, across that great country, and you want Fox Sports Florida to be able to show that first pitch. Pop up, Cousins coming, slides, and Reyes holds on. Let's hope he's okay. Scott Cousins and Jose Reyes colliding. Reyes held onto the ball,
which is absolutely amazing in itself. All the way he had to go, and then dealing with Scott Cousins coming in.
Boy, you're hopeful it's just he got hit in the shin.
You're hopeful it's a hard hit, a bang, a bruise to the shin,
yeah,
and nothing to an ankle or a knee. Mike Kozak out there. This is a couple of looks by Reyes. Here comes Cousins.
Right knee of Cousins into the shin of Reyes.
Boy, the concentration to catch this ball, the collision, and then landing hard and to still be able to hang on to the ball. Both had to go a long ways, Cousins and Reyes. It's a tough play as to who's making the call. And it appears that Jose's going to stay out there. And boy, is that great.
Yes.
But now he's got the smile back, too.
A collective sigh of relief.
Hanley saying, yeah, I remember that play. Going back into shallow center field.
Reyes is smiling. That's good. A reminder. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. You have to read that fast in a Mark Burley start. You cannot dawdle during the disclaimer. Rasmus with that newfound stance where he is up on the plate. He flied to center back in the first. Arancibia is still at first after an infield single. And Burley misses in with a fastball. Burley's given up a couple of singles. One breaking ball flipped out towards left. In comes Morrison. Lands in front of him. Holding at second is Arancibia. Morrison got to it quickly. And the third hit against Burley. And that brings up the dangerous bat of Jose Bautista.
Think about the last two hits, though. Swinging bunt by Arancibia, little dribbler up the third baseline, and a flare by Rasmus.
And now you got Bautista. So from a sigh of relief to holding your breath now with this guy. He's homered in 3 of his last 5 games. See the damage that he's done on the road. And he swings and misses. Speaking of home runs, the Rays and the Phillies are scoreless right now in the top of the 4th. But Jim Thome hit a walk-off homer yesterday to bail out Jonathan Papelbon for the Phillies to beat the Rays. That was his 13th career walk-off homer. Up and in. He now, in Major League history, has the most. You go back, Mickey Mantle had a dozen, Jimmy Fox had a dozen, Babe Ruth had a dozen, Stan Musial had 12, Frank Robinson had 12. And now Thome stands alone at 13.
And the amazing part about, number one, the guys that he passed. All those guys that he passed had never heard of a walk-off home run.
That's right. You know, and it's sometimes you get an angry email saying, why do you use the term walk-off home run? That's, you know, it's something that's been invented in baseball by some announcer trying to be, you know, funny or slick or whatever. That's actually a term that was coined by a baseball player. That's Dennis Eckersley who coined that term. Breaking ball in the dirt. For Eckersley, it was a walk-off piece.
Yeah, because you were the guy who gave it up and you were walking off.
Right.
More directed toward the pitcher. And by the way, for Thome, career home run number 609. Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Yeah.
There has never been a hint of performance-enhancing drugs with him. Here's the 2-2. Fastball, and you see how fast Bautista has, how fast those hands come through on that pitch that was up and in.
Yeah, never been a hint of that with Thome, and a guy who has represented the game as well as anybody in his career.
Burley and Bautista, 2 on. 2-2. And it's down low. The other part of that story was Jonathan Papelbon, who had blown the save. He was perfect, and it was his first blown save. In the dugout, he told Thome, when Thome was in the on-deck circle, that he'd give him $5,000 if he hit a home run and ended the ball game, and he did. And apparently Papelbon wrote him a check.
I don't know if Thome's accepted it. If he does, he'll probably transfer it to his favorite charity, knowing Jim Thome.
Mark Burley right now and Jose Bautista having a good battle in a ball game in which the Marlins have jumped to a 4-0 lead in a month that has been miserable for Miami. A little bit of sunshine here in this one. 3-2 coming. Off speed and a fly ball. Cousins is back, and he makes the catch. 9-pitch at bat. Burley shuts him down. It's 4-0. report about J.P. Arancibia, the Miami kid who was excited to be here, was a big-time Marlin fan. Well, the first pitch was thrown out by another big Marlin fan, Danny Pino, actor and one of the stars of Law and Order SVU. And he tweeted about his first pitch. Looking forward, Marlins fan since Charlie Huff, maybe throw a knuckler. That from Danny Pino.
Boy, Law and Order, SVU.
That's one of your favorite shows.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
he gets to work with Mariska Haggerty.
Sometimes when the team bus is leaving the hotel and it's 4 o'clock and we can't find Tommy, we know that he's waiting for those last few minutes of Law and Order SVU.
That's right. And there's usually one day a week where they have a Law and Order SVU marathon, and they're on all day. Those are the tough days to leave the room.
Jesse Chavez. And he just fed breaking balls to Giancarlo Stanton, who went out of the zone and strikes out to open up the bottom of the third. Tico, the People's Gas, brings you National League East standings. And as Tommy alluded to at the outset of the telecast, the Marlins, if you're looking for rock bottom, they have at this point hit the bottom of the National League East at 33-38. Here's Logan Morris. But if you also were around for Marlins Live, you know that Jeff Conine flashback to 2003, and look where the Marlins were. They were 13 games out behind.
That's pretty amazing.
Atlanta. They were 3 under. 7.5 back in the wild card, the important number at the very bottom there.
Where the Jays get the big shift on once again. Brett Lawrie goes into deep right field.
That is extremely deep. That's shallow. That's not even shallow right. That's almost playing straight up. Now, Greg Dobbs, when faced with this shift, got an outside fastball from Jesse Chavez and punched it down the third base line for a single. And you can see Yunel Escobar, the shortstop, at the regular shortstop spot.
Morrison trying to take a swing that way. Even a ground ball that's not hit all that sharply that chases Escobar into the hole a little bit. I would love to see Lawrie get a ground ball out there and see if he could throw the runner out at first.
And Morrison takes a called third strike. And, you know, we'll get back to it in just a moment. But first this. Corona Light wants you to find your beach this summer with the Miami Marlins. Corona Light offering 6 lucky Marlin fans the chance to win 4 tickets and a Fiesta Suite for an upcoming game at Marlins Park. Just go to your local participating retailer and look for the Corona Light display for details on how to enter and win. Relax responsibly. After Morrison struck out, Arancibia popped up to throw the ball around the horn, and normally he just whips it over to the third baseman, who wasn't there. So he kind of had to adjust his throw, and he flat out missed Escobar at short, and the ball ended up in left field.
And by the way, they don't have the giant shift on this at bat for Greg Dobbs.
No, I guess fool me once. Okay, fool me twice. We're not going to get into that. And Chavez continues to pitch Dobbs outside.
I think the hitter that has been affected the most has been Logan Morrison, and really it all started in Cleveland. And he admitted that the shift really messed him up.
Dobbs goes after the 2-0 pitch. This was the Dobbs at bat with the shift on.
Yeah, and he got a nice fastball out over the plate. You can see the shift on. Even in this at bat, the second baseman, notice in that at bat, second baseman was 10 or 15 steps into right field. Not the case during this at bat.
Dobbs pulls that one into right center field. It's going to fall for a base hit. Kick there, and Dobbs thinks about second. Has to scamper back to first as Rasmus bobbled it for a brief instant. And Greg Dobbs, starting in the 5 spot, is 2 for 2.
if, in my mind, if Kelly Johnson is positioned where he was last time, I don't think he gets it because he was more to pull. Yeah, he was way in right field. I still don't think he would have gotten to it.
I'm with you because...
But it made you think a little.
Yeah, you're curious to know where that ball would have landed or who would have been closest to it if they had that shift on.
So here's the thought. The shift is messing with Lomo's mind, but Dobbs is messing with the Blue Jays' mind in shifting.
Yeah, because Brian Butterfield is kind of in charge of the defense, so he's probably thinking in the Blue Jays dugout. He is also the third base coach. All right, what do we do with Dobbs next time up? I think they've got Lomo figured out. Chavez misses low and outside. Omar Infante doubled in the second. Marlins got an RBI hit from Scott Cousins following that, and then a 3-run homer from John Buck. That's how they've built their 4-0 lead. And that pitch is out to Infante. Chavez has fallen behind. 3-0. A low strike. Infante had tossed the bat. And it's 3-1.
You know, by first appearance, it appeared very, very low, but not the case in Foxtrot.
Dobbs back over. Might you start him 3-1?
No. Yeah, there he goes.
Dobbs was moving. Ball in the air. Rasmus wanders over and he makes the catch. Marlins leave a runner. We've played 3. It's 4-0. Then you see the Marlin jerseys there. It is Heath Bell Jersey Day. Great giveaway, and it's even better when Heath Bell himself is giving them away.
I tell you what, that's one of the really nice touches if you happen to come into the right entrance, and the same is going to be for Josh Johnson bobblehead night. He'll be giving those away.
Yeah, terrific giveaway today for the kids. The Josh Johnson bobblehead night is Wednesday night against the Cardinals. Edwin Encarnacion leads it off. You know, Escobar, Rajay Davis against Mark Burley. Johnson yesterday, outstanding, 7 innings, a run, 7 strikeouts. The Marlins had to shorten his start simply because they had to pinch hit for him. They had an opportunity to get a run. Unable to get that run in the bottom of the 7th, and thus no JJ for the 8th, and it scrambled the whole bullpen situation. And the Blue Jays had that big 9th inning to run away with the game.
He's been able to bring his earned run average, there's the bobblehead, down to 3.96, under 4.
Encarnacion swings and misses. Mark Burley's been sharp. AT&T brings you our trivia question every day. As we flip the phone, only Blue Jays skipper to earn Manager of the Year kudos. Cito Gaston.
It's got to be. You think World Series 2 years in a row? They couldn't have messed that up 2 years in a row.
I don't know though. Let's go back even further. What about Bobby Cox?
He didn't win a World Series.
He got him the postseason though, right?
Yeah.
That one dumped into left center field by Escobar, hustling around first. Escobar will stop there. Cousins with a good throw to second. I'm going back to before Cito arrived.
You go back mid-'80s.
Yes. When the Blue Jays won the East, then they lose to, oh boy, they lost in the postseason to Kansas City?
Kansas City, I
in
believe.
'85?
Kansas City had some good teams back then.
Absolutely. '85 was the year Kansas City won the World Series with Buddy Biancalana, George Brett, and the rest of them. Rajay Davis takes outside. Davis had a base hit in the 2nd and then was thrown out trying to go from 1st to 2nd on a fly ball to Logan Morrison. Some tough news coming out of Boston for a guy that the Marlins have seen a couple of times. Clay Buchholz is in the hospital and has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. That's going to roll up the baseline, and it didn't quite have enough spin to get it fair, but Burley was there, and had it rolled fair, he was there in enough time where he could have picked it up and either tagged Davis or flipped to first. Watch where it starts and see where it was headed.
We've seen a couple of those this year start out in foul territory and then kind of squib back into fair territory. Yeah, that is tough news for Boston with Buchholz.
According to, it's gastrointestinal bleeding right now for Buchholz. That's what the story says. And he just started against Mark Burley.
Won his 8th game, 8-2
on Tuesday night. He gave up 5 runs, but remember the Red Sox scored 7. It did not affect his start, but he began to feel something 2 days later, according to the story.
That he was scheduled to pitch today against the lefty Mike Minor of the Braves.
So the Red Sox have, what, 3 guys from their opening day rotation that have been on the disabled list. Josh Beckett is already on the DL. Only John Lester and Felix Doubront remain. There's the A move from Burley. Aaron Cook, former Colorado Rocky, will be activated to take Buchholz's start on Sunday.
Yeah, I believe Cook had been pitching in Pawtucket,
which obviously is today. I'm reading this story, and so Cook getting the start. Look out. The bat from Davis goes flying. That one almost got the fish tank, Tommy. Or Joey Cora.
Or Joey Cora. I was more concerned about Joey than the fish tank.
Watch this.
There's Joey in the background. Okay, I got to get out of the way here. And
it's about 4 panels away from the fish tank.
Everybody's fine.
Now Kelly Johnson. Big rip at a breaking ball from Burley. We said yesterday that to stop this slide, you need to get some quality starts. The Marlins got a quality start from Josh Johnson yesterday, and it looks like they're getting one right now from Mark Burley. Just off the corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just a reminder that tomorrow the parade will be on Sun Sports for the 2012 NBA champions, the Miami Heat. So 11 a.m. on Sun Sports, our sister station, or sister network, I guess.
I always wondered why they called that a sister station and not a brother station.
It's one hopper out to Infante. We've hit an all-time low there. Here's 4-0 Marlins. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Sagicor. Plan a bright financial future today at SagicorLifeUSA.com and by the Florida Department of Transportation. Drive sober or get pulled over. That young lady there, Shauna Sweeney of the Shauna Sweeney Band, singing "O Canada" and the national anthem. And you don't often see a double anthem singer, Tommy. Sometimes they have someone come in and do.
She was fantastic.
"O Canada," and then you got someone in for the Star Spangled Banner. She did them both. It's like pitching both ends of a doubleheader. Scott Cousins, an RBI single in that 4-run inning. He pulls a ground ball to second. Kelly Johnson throws it over there. I'm going to stay with Bobby Cox.
I have to go with Cito Gaston.
Manager of the Year, kudos. 1985.
How about that?
Yeah, they were 99 and 62.
So basically, you win a World Series 2 years in a row, and you don't win Manager of the Year. You get the bonus check and you get a ring, but you don't get Manager of the Year.
You sound bitter there.
Cito was a treat to be around.
Oh, absolutely. And
I'm trying to figure out who won it in 92 and 93. We'll have to have our...
a lot of of winning manager of the year is judged by what kind of roster you have, what kind of expectations you have going into
Granted, yeah.
And I believe 85 was the first time Toronto got to the postseason. John Buck flips that down the right field line. And it's a foul ball. So, first time in the postseason. Maybe the Blue Jays, they had a really good team. You pointed out the outfield that they had. Mosby, Barfield. Who am I missing?
George Bell.
George Bell, the MVP. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. And Buck goes down. Jesse Chavez has a couple of outs here in the fourth. So maybe there were lower expectations for that Blue Jay team that broke through and broke the stranglehold by the Oakland Athletics in getting to the World Series.
So we're crack staff all over this. Tony La Russa in 92 was manager of the year in the American League. And Gene Lamont in 93.
Gene Lamont was managing in 93. Joey Cora and Ozzie Guillen.
La Russa with the Athletics. Of course, Tony was manager of the year with the White Sox in 83.
That got him fired.
Yeah, Gene Lamont took the White Sox to winning that West. 94 wins.
Burley busted his bat. 1-1 pitch coming. Chavez, what looks like a cutter that has really run in on the left-handed bats.
You know, aside from the second inning, Jesse Chavez has thrown the ball very well.
Breaky ball into strike. And Chavez, since that second, has been tough. The 1-2-3 fourth.
Of Marlins history when you come into Marlins Park, and one of them is when you come into the Diamond Club here on the third base side. It honors one of the great Marlins fans of all times, the late Luis Mendez. I interviewed him many times. He was better known as the Pin Man. He had his own bobblehead, and what he was known for was this black leather vest complete with 323 baseball pins, almost all covering the Marlins. His favorite pins, the World Championship pins from 1997 and 2003. Luis Mendez was some kind of guy and a great Marlins fan.
Good stuff, Craig, and remember him well.
Oh, I remember seeing the Pin Man Luis at just about every Marlins function. He would be there. You could see him also at games down behind home plate. would have loved this new venue.
Yeah, he probably would have had some new pins to put up with the new Miami Marlin logo. JP Arancibia pops out to first baseman Greg Dobbs, and now Jesse Chavez will come up. Marlins exploding for 4 runs in the bottom of the 2nd inning. And since then, Chavez and Burley have been trading zeros.
Still zeros in Philadelphia with Hamels and Price on the mound. That's the first game of 2.
Yeah, it's an odd doubleheader.
Yeah.
I think a 6:05 start. I would expect it's a day-night double admission one, too.
At Citizens Bank, it has to be.
With all the sellouts they've got, Burley carves him up. Backdoor breaking ball for strike 3. And that brings up Brett Lawrie.
There's some great pitching matchups in baseball today and even tonight. The national game, the Mets and the Yankees. CC Sabathia and R.A. Dickey.
I think the country is pulling for R.A. Dickey to start in the All-Star game. I think that really would be special. Lawrie pounds that one down the left field line, and that's into the corner. And off to the races goes Brett Lawrie with his 12th double of the season, his 4th hit of this series. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stats. Bobby Rasmus stepping up to the plate. Look at what he's done in the last 7 games. 4 home runs. The on-base percentage is up. And remember, a lot of this has happened because John Farrell tweaked the lineup. Just as the Blue Jays count on Lawrie, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. When he put Lawrie in the leadoff spot and Rasmus in the number 2 spot.
Yeah, they've nailed down those spots the last 17 games, and both have responded. Rasmus, in his last 17 games, is the number 2 hitter. That's hit .333 with 7 home runs and 20 RBIs. Of course, got 4 of those on the Grand Slam last night, his 3rd career Grand Slam.
Rasmus singled in the 3rd. He has 3 hits and has driven in 5 in this series. Smacks it into right field. Stanton got a good jump. Round 3rd. Here comes Lawrie. Here comes the throw to the plate. Buck to the corner. Got him! Giancarlo Stanton with a 1-hop strike. It wasn't on line. Buck had to make the grab and the dive, and he did it. And Mark Burley still shutting down the Blue Jays.
Miami Marlins Béisbol en Español es presentado en SAP por Toyota.
Bottom of the fifth has started quickly. Jose Reyes bouncing out to Yunel Escobar. Faster than we can say Cookie and Raul.
Hi, guys.
Reggie, Tommy, how are you guys?
Hey, good, Cookie. Good for me. It was just good to see Jose Reyes run up the line the way he did after the collision he had.
Absolutely. I think that was very nice, and it's a good thing that he didn't get hurt because, to lose him, he means a lot to the ball club. And there's a good attitude today. I mean, that second inning was great. That home run by Buck with driving in 3 runs is a little more exciting here. And I think that's the way we need. We need Burley, to get that little 4 runs in that inning and pitching great ball game, and maybe we get out of this bad timing that we've been having of late.
There's that old saying, Cookie, that you make your own luck, and you got to be aggressive. And I think that's what Jose Reyes was talking about yesterday when he said, look, we are awful right now, and I've got to play better. Everybody's got to play better. We have to be more aggressive.
I agree with you, and I think that coming from a player itself, I think it's great that he did that. And if you had anything to say, you go ahead and say it right there in that meeting.
Hanley Ramirez lines it to left.
I think the other thing, guys, nice to see today, a couple of good outfield plays. Logan Morrison's throw, and then the one we just saw by Stanton.
Absolutely. I mean, he has a rifle in right field. And one thing that I want to mention to you guys, and I think it's important in this ball game, is Dobbs with 2 strikes. And, they were playing him to pull all the time. And you were talking about, Richie, take what they gave you. They gave him the whole left side, and he got that base hit that started that big rally with the 4 runs that we have.
Yes, that was a professional at bat. All right, Cookie, Raul, have a good show.
Okay,
Thanks, guys. You too.
Giancarlo Stanton. Remember, Chavez fed him breaking balls in the dirt, and Stanton went after all of them when he struck out his first AB.
Been a crazy couple of at-bats. He hit him with a fastball first time up. Then gave him all the breaking balls. Another breaking ball there.
Nice leap by Chavez to get it. And Jesse Chavez has retired 7 in a row. That's a 7-pitch inning. A big second inning, some good defense, some nice Mark Burley, and you add it up, it's 4-0 Miami in the top of the 6th inning. Jose Bautista, that changeup, a swing and a miss, and that's what Burley has featured against Bautista. Jose waited him out for a walk in the first and then flied to center in the 3rd. Toronto has 6 hits. The Marlins have 5. Over Burley, backhanded Infante, and the ball slipped out of his hand. Bautista runs pretty well, and he was going to beat that out anyways. So it's a base hit.
A nice effort to it, and Burley just couldn't quite get there, and neither could Infante get the grip that he needed on the baseball to make that throw.
You saw the hustle of John Buck. He was back there just in case Dobbs was unable to come up with it.
It's a ball club, by the way. Mark Burley faced a couple of times last year. Went 1-1 and had a 1.93 ERA. So he pitched well against the Blue Jays last year.
And he throws a changeup to Encarnacion, who has flied out and struck out. Edwin Encarnacion has homered in 4 of his last 5 games. Homered in the 9th against Steve Cishek, and he pulls that one foul. And the Blue Jays, who are headed to Boston after this, coming at 3 games over despite the injuries they've had in their rotation. Now Boston's rotation is banged up with Beckett on the DL, Buchholz on the DL. 0-2. Of course, the Yankees have been the class of that division lately. That long win streak they went on, they put some distance between themselves and everybody else. Baltimore 2.5 back. The Rays 4 back. Boston and Toronto both 5.5 behind the Yankees.
Now watching Burley when he's at his best, he's getting ahead early, and 11 of the last 14 batters he's thrown a first pitch strike.
Bautista away from first. No swing. The count's full 3-2.
I think people are starting to believe the Orioles are for real.
I think you're at the point of the season where you've got to believe what you see.
And how about the Pittsburgh Pirates? How about the way they've played?
The Pirates are pushing Cincinnati in the Central. The Marlins, of course, are going to see the Pirates in the month of July. 38-32 are the Pirates, and they're a game back of the Reds. They're in front of St. Louis. Of course, St. Louis comes in here next. They're here tomorrow night for a 3-game series.
Andrew McCutchen has been phenomenal, hitting .345, has 13 home runs.
That's a pitcher's ballpark, and McCutchen has been the engine that has driven that offense.
And one of the pitchers that's driven the rotation, A.J. Burnett.
Got a veteran Eric Bedard in that rotation. Off the end of the bat, and it's Reyes out there, hoping that Cousins doesn't come sliding in.
Doesn't want to hear footsteps.
Makes the catch. Saturday spectacular for the Marlins. Next weekend, after the Cardinals, the Phillies come in. That's a 4:10 start next Saturday. Autograph session with the player before the game, after the game, a plaza party for the entire family with bounce houses, rides, games, karaoke, and more. 1-877-MARLINS. Here's Escobar now, with Bautista still at first and Burley working hard. The pitch is fouled off. Burley at 90 pitches now. Jesse Chavez is at 76, but of course Burley stretched out and probably has a few more bullets in his belt than a guy like Chavez, who's been a lifetime reliever, just turned into a starter. Good changeup.
Boy, it's fun to watch. I mean, there are two types of pitchers that are fun to watch. Number one, the just overpowering guy who's blowing hitters away. And the other guy is the Mark Burley type, who has hitters all afternoon off balance. Towards the seats and out of reach. And I would expect, too,
what makes a guy like Burley so good and effective is no two at-bats are alike for a hitter. It's not like after your first AB you make an adjustment, you're going to get the same assortment of pitches.
Well, and that's why he's been so successful. That's why he's won 166 games.
Yeah.
He adjusts.
4 All-Stars. And his throw to first, diving back in, is Bautista. You know, one thing the Marlins accomplished, and it's happened in 2 ways. Number one, it's the 4-0 lead, but number two, it's Burley on the mound, and that is by shutting down Toronto's running game. The Blue Jays have been very aggressive in the first 2 games of the series, starting runners, hitting and running, stealing bases. But with Burley on the mound and the fact that there's a 4-0 Marlin lead, that's kind of limited John Farrell.
Yeah, 2 things have shut down the running game. Mark Burley and John Buck with his 3-run homer.
Ground ball in the hole. Reyes dives. Quick to second. Got him. What a play. Jose Reyes to Omar Infante, just getting Bautista.
Yeah, the smile, the tap of the glove, and a little nod from Mark Burley as well. This ball is stung. There's the backhand. He flips up. He knows his only play is the force at second, but he has to be quick with it. Bautista got down there in a hurry. Well done all around.
And so Escobar trades places with Bautista. He's at first. Here's Rajay Davis. And he gets a Burley changeup. It's 1-0. And there's a strike. The Braves are the team that's in Boston right now. Atlanta and the Red Sox are scoreless in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Aaron Cook is pitching well. We talked about Cook replacing Buchholz. He's gone 4 scoreless. Liner to center. Cousins in. Now has to dart back and reach up and make the catch. He almost came in a little too much. Burley has 6 scoreless innings in the books. In the Sea Creatures race. Watch this. Look at that. Oh, wow. The octopus pushing the shark, and then he goes down. Oh, all 8 arms going down. See, that's the type of NASCAR action that you want. Mascots trading paint.
And the crowd got into it. There goes
Morrison, and he's got a punt.
Lomo.
He's got a hit. Logan Morrison. Nicely done.
You know, and there's a time to do it and a time not to, but a time to do it is leading off an inning. if they're going to give you that base hit, Lomo drops it down, doesn't have to make a perfect bunt, even though it was, and gets himself a leadoff bunt single.
So the Marlins have crossed the Jays up twice now with the shift, with Dobbs lining one down the third base line. And you can see that the Blue Jays infield now in the traditional set for Dobbs. And now Morrison has done it with his bunt single. Dobbs is 2 for 2. It's the second time Morrison has bunted for a hit against a shift this year.
Yeah, the infield now with Dobbs up there more in a double play situation, and he's had some nice success. Saw those numbers against Toronto.
You knew it was just a matter of time before the Shark or the Octopus got a little tired of getting beat. There was some animosity growing between the racers.
Yeah, I thought the interesting thing, the Octopus trying to take advantage with an elbow. Not sure which elbow it was. And then he hit the dirt.
Well, I think it showed the resiliency of the Shark. You know, hit the wall, but if I'm going down, I'm taking someone with me. So I think Major League teams should travel a racing mascot. There it is. Let's see the Shark.
If you were to pick one to race against the Sausages when we go to Milwaukee, who would you pick?
See, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Dobbs to right. It's deep. Back goes Bautista. Gone! His first of the year. Have a day, Greg Dobbs.
He has crossed up the defense all day. And you know what? There is no defense for what he just did. Turned on a fastball. Such a smart hitter. Looks for pitches. Got what he wanted. Got a pitch he could pull. And pulled it for his first home run this year.
The most interesting man in baseball is 3 for 3. And here is Infante. Well, when the going gets tough, and it's certainly been tough for the Marlins, you look for your veteran players to pull you out of it. Josh Johnson did his best yesterday. Greg Dobbs doing his best today. He's 3 for 3 with a homer. The Marlins have hit 2 homers. John Buck a 3-run shot, and Dobbs a 2-run shot.
And to carry that a little further, even though he doesn't have a hit today, Jose Reyes has made a couple of tremendous defensive plays.
After the fly ball out by Infante, here's Cousins, and he fouls it up. I like that idea, Tommy. I like the idea of teams that have a race traveling at one member.
Could travel somebody to D.C.
Bring the drill in from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Bring Teddy Roosevelt.
Give Teddy a chance. You bring him here, he's got a chance.
Absolutely. But if you were to travel one of the sea creatures, I got to go with Shark. I think, especially after seeing what we just saw, the Shark would not take anything from a sausage or a pierogi.
Or from Thomas Jefferson.
As again, looking at the lineup card, the Marlins a 6-0 lead. 4 runs in the second. Scott Cousins RBI single, the 3-run homer by Buck, and now a 2-run homer by Greg Dobbs. Cousins takes down low. It's 2-2. There's a pretty good shift on for Cousins right now. And he hooks that ground ball fair. Encarnacion was right on the line. And he steps on the bag. 2 outs, and here comes Buck. Even though he's given up 6 runs, I think John Farrell has to be encouraged that Chavez has reached the bottom of the 6th inning.
Well, they've been able to stretch him out. He's closing in on 90 pitches. He's due up 3rd, so this will be his last inning. And yeah, given the fact that he just went 2 2/3 his last start, showing some good movement with pitches, good sink on that last fastball.
Marlins getting some help from a former Marlin in Boston, where Cody Ross has hit a 3-run homer. Adrian Gonzalez has added a solo shot off of Mike Minor. 4-0 Boston on top of Atlanta in the bottom of the 4th. The Nationals have a 1-0 lead in Baltimore against the Orioles.
They've had some real nice crowds in Baltimore. That rivalry, I think, taking on special meaning this year because of the way the Orioles and the Nationals are playing.
Ryan Zimmerman has the only RBI. Jonathan Solano has doubled for the Nationals. Of note. Here a 6-0 ball game. Buck's homer did not end up in the Clevelander pool, though it did end up in the water, so to speak, of the sculpture out in left center. Just to the right of the rainbow, so to speak, right in here. Buck, that's Laurie who makes the throw. The Marlins get 2 more. The bunt single by Logan Morrison setting up the Dauber, who goes deep. Now, they had a team meeting after the ball game yesterday, and Ozzie Guillen talked about not only the team meeting but the state of the ball club.
I always believe in this quote. I don't know who said it. Bad team have meetings. Winning team kick ass. That's why we have 3 meetings in the last 3 days or last 5 days, because we're not a good team right now.
I think yesterday after the ball game was the most anger and the, I guess, harshest words from Ozzie Guillen about his ball club this year. A lot of people have been waiting for him to just explode and tear up a clubhouse or throw a base into right field or do something like that. Ozzie's been very even keeled, and I think yesterday he let it loose a little bit. And we talked to you about Reyes's quotes and what Reyes had to say. And so far, the Marlins have come out and they've taken it to the Blue Jays, a 6-0 lead. It helps that Mark Burley's been out on the mound and been splendid. Johnson thought that pitch was up and in. Kelly Johnson, JP Arancibia, and the number 9 spot for the Blue Jays. Johnson swings and misses.
Something that Burley doesn't do a whole lot of. Once in a while, the lefties, he'll drop down a little bit. He really fooled Johnson with that.
JM Lexus always resets our game for us, and they do it here in the 7th. 6-0 Marlins on top. John Buck, a 3-run homer. Greg Dobbs, a 2-run homer, but a lot of other stuff going on in the ball game. The great defense by Jose Reyes, the play at the plate. Giancarlo Stanton throwing out Brett Lawrie. Nice tag by John Buck. There's been the battle of the shift. The Marlins have had a couple hits against the shift. Greg Dobbs, a liner down the third base line, and then Logan Morrison had had enough of it. He finally laid down a nice bunt.
And both of those hits set up scoring innings. The Dobbs hit set up the inning where John Buck hit the 3-run homer, and then the Morrison bunt set up Dobbs' home run.
Here's the 0-2. Cholula Hot Sauce Spotlight player. We talked about Arancibia's career at Miami Westminster Christian. 17 homers, tied A-Rod's school record. First overall pick, or excuse me, the 21st overall pick, first round pick out of Tennessee. Arancibia swings. He says he got a tip. He says he got a tip. It sounded like it. Home plate umpire Lance Barrett right now talking to Arancibia.
And really, to go by sound, Barrett's the only one who can make that call. He's the closest.
So they're not questioning his vision, they're questioning his hearing. And that's, you know, Arancibia is pointing, can you ask somebody? That's impossible for a guy standing 120 feet away. The only guy that can do it is the home plate umpire.
Exactly.
This is almost a play that begs for replay. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know if a replay would show it. Now, at least I give Lance Barrett credit. He's going to call his umpire crew together and say, hey, did anybody see something that maybe I didn't see or hear?
Let's listen.
On a replay, you can't tell. And even the sound, I mean, that could be the ball skipping into the dirt, could be skipping into the catcher's mitt. I don't think replay helps on that one.
What if you got a side swing? You'd have to have XMO on just about every camera for something like that, which is cost prohibitive. Mike McCoy getting this pinch hit at bat. Here's another look. There are some games where we do not have the XMO available, and this would be one of those. And I guess that's another issue if you want to institute instant replay. And I think Joe Torre brought this up a week ago, and he said you've got to have the same amount of equipment in each ballpark for each game. And right now that doesn't happen in Major League Baseball, depending on who's televising and what type of equipment they have available for that telecast. McCoy walks, and the Blue Jays get the top of their order up here in the 7th, and that means Brett Lawrie gets another swing at Mark Burley. There's a strike. Lawrie doubled back in the 5th. He hit a ball that you just felt like was going out in the first at bat of the ball game. As it was, Logan Morrison was waiting at the 386 sign in left center field.
Which takes you back to a conversation we have often. Plays early in the game that kind of make or break a game. Who knows if that ball goes out, how the feeling is amongst the Marlins. And number 2, the other play that I thought had a big advantage in this game was what we were talking about, Dobbs' base hit against the shift.
Burley strikes out Lawrie, and Mark Burley going strong through 7.
All right, in the 2nd inning, we talked about that base hit that Greg Dobbs got against the shift. That started things. Continuing on was a nice double off the bat of Omar Infante. How about Scott Cousins with an RBI single? But the big blast in the inning, the 3-run shot to the base of the home run sculpture supplied by John Buck.
And that's how we have arrived at 6-0. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Marlins trying to turn it around, Tommy, and you got to start somewhere. Maybe this is the start.
Yeah, and you like the way the game's been played defensively by the Marlins, offensively some key base hits. We've seen the shift broken up a couple of times, so all around a well-played game, and certainly Mark Burley has helped.
All right, we got a couple things to show you. Wednesday night with the Marlins and the Cardinals, it's Josh Johnson bobblehead night, so get here early, get yourself a JJ bobblehead. Look, he's got the JJ there, and he's even got the little ball tap for the bobblehead has good timing.
Now, this isn't a giveaway.
No, it isn't. That's a hot seller in the gift store right now. It is a Marlins piggy bank.
Look at that.
And Major League Baseball has piggy banks of every team. The Marlin piggy bank has got the Marlin logo there.
Right.
You got the Marlin cap there. You got the place for the coin. And you got the nice little palm trees going on the bottom of the pig. So that's the Marlins piggy bank. Very nice.
Kids will like that one.
Yeah. Kids will like this, too. So Wednesday night, Josh Johnson bobblehead.
And you could be distributed that bobblehead by Josh Johnson himself.
That's great.
Remember, Heath Bell gave out jerseys today, and Josh Johnson's going to be doing the same because he's not pitching that night.
There will, however, be no pig to give you the piggy bank. You got to go to the Marlins team store. The Marlins team store is open.
You told me some new shirts.
Oh, they got
also
new Nike. And here's just a landmark announcement for the Marlins team store. They now have Marlin Tommy Bahama shirts in. So if you're into Tommy Bahama and you're into the Marlins, the team store is open, I think 9 a.m. during the week. Come on down to Marlins Park, or if you're at the game, there's a team store outside and inside Marlins Park. Austin Kearns is up there right now. Robert Coelho takes over for Jesse Chavez.
I think we talked about it the other night. Austin Kearns just trying to get back on track after spending time on the disabled list.
Breaky ball, and he fouls it back to the screen. Jesse Chavez started this ball game for Toronto, 6 innings. Chavez 7 hits, 2 of them home runs. 3-run shot by John Buck, a 2-run homer by Greg Dobbs. Chavez didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 6. And Mark Burley leaving for a pinch hitter, and that turns the game over to the Marlins bullpen. It's the second part of the equation in this ball game, and it's lately that hit him. I'm sure Aaron Sebia is muttering, if you heard that, how come you didn't hear the foul tip?
He could say something. I mean, he could really have fun with home plate umpire Lance Barrett and say, oh, now your hearing's getting better.
Nothing with Kearns at first, and here is Reyes.
We saw Coelho pitch an inning in the first game of this series. Gabby Sanchez took him deep, hanging breaking ball.
Pitch is up, and on his way out is Aaron Sebia. You know, this piggy bank, it just reminded me, Tommy, we could have used this at the start of the year, because remember the dollar, anytime
the fines,
anytime the fine system that we had, anytime that we dropped a mic
instead of Giancarlo,
you were a little more there. I was the one that every now and then would say Hanley when a ball was popped out to short.
That was $1.
That was $1.
We were both pretty good at no Florida and sticking with the Miami Marlins. We were good at that.
2-0 pitch. And it's out. So now we have our official piggy bank.
Our crack staff, every once in a while, they would blow it. Not often.
Of course, theirs never made air. Thankfully. Here's the 3-0. And Coelho hit Kearns, walks Reyes on 4 pitches, and that brings up Hanley Ramirez, and I may bring a visit from Blue Jays pitching coach, and it will. On his way out is Bruce Walton. The all-you-can-eat special is coming up. A Vista Reserve ticket, unlimited hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, popcorn, soda, and water for just $24. Or you can upgrade to the Legends level for $10 more. The next all-you-can-eat night is tomorrow. Marlins and Cardinals at 7:10.
By the way, that's a Ricky Nolasco start. He goes against the sinker baller, right-hander Jake Westbrook of the Cardinals. Hard to imagine, because they were here just one time, the Cardinals have been here one game to start the season.
You forget about that.
Yeah.
It seems like a long time ago. Hanley 0 for 3. He's bounced out, popped out, flied out.
Cardinals won that game 4-1.
That was the first glimpse that Josh Johnson was not quite back yet.
Yeah, I mean, he went 6 innings. He didn't pitch all that badly. Gave up 10 hits, though. A lot of singles, if not all, and 3 runs. Kyle Loesch pitched extremely well for the Cardinals that night.
But of course, Johnson, his last almost 8 starts now, seems to be back to the old JJ. David Pauly in the Toronto pen.
I mean, JJ, let's see, will open up that series against the Phillies
Friday night. Hanley lines out in the gap, right center field. That is going to score 2. In comes Kearns. Flying round third comes Reyes. Hanley on his way to third, and he's in there. Second triple for Hanley.
It's been so nice, Rich. The Marlins fans haven't had a whole lot to cheer about over the last few weeks. And Hanley gives them a little bit more on a high fastball. Great swing, great area to hit the ball, and we've talked about it so much, and that's going to be all for Coelho. But any ball into that area in the gap in right center field, 99% of the time, is going to be 3 bases.
Hanley gets his triple, stretches the lead to 8-0. Pitching change for the Blue Jays. Robert Coelho out of the ball game. Blue Jays bring in David Pauly, making just his 7th appearance. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. Joe Espada over there in the third base coaching box tells me he actually scouts the pitchers to see where he's going to have to go when Mike, or should I say Giancarlo Stanton, that's a dollar fine, is at the plate. So pitching him in, he'll move way back like he is right now. We'll show you different times of the game. This is earlier at bat. He's beyond the dirt because no one was on base. Sometimes he's forced, though, to be a lot closer. If a guy is on first or second, you'll see him well in the third base box. And this time for Infante, there was a runner on first base, so Espada will have to be a lot closer because he has to be ready for an extra base hit to help wave the runner in. Obviously, with Stanton up, he prefers to be as far as possible. And this time with Hanley at third, he's got to be a little bit closer because he may have to coach Hanley to get home. So, of course, he wants to be as far away as possible when Giancarlo's up.
All right, thanks, Craig. He could have stood about 30 feet away from Giancarlo Stanton there because David Pauly didn't throw one over the plate. He didn't throw one that didn't bounce or dive way outside, and Stanton chased every one of them.
Giancarlo's had some at-bats in this series that he really has just looked lost. He looked lost in the third inning when he chased 3 breaking balls from Chavez. He looked lost last night facing the veteran Darren Oliver. He's just had some really rough at-bats in this series.
Now Morrison, robbed of a hit on a great play by Edwin Encarnacion at first base in the first inning. Called out on strikes in the third. Bunted for a hit with the shift on, and the shift is somewhat off. You can still see Kelly Johnson over towards first, the second baseman.
And I would say at this point of the game with an 8-0 lead, probably not a good idea to bunt here.
No. What's the protocol for shifting? I mean, if you have to shut down your offensive game in terms of stealing bases and bunting, this is new territory because shifting is in vogue. What about defensive shifting?
I think you just keep shifting.
Here's the 2-0.
I do have a thought though on shifts.
To left and deep, and Hanley will score. And a nice at bat by Logan Morrison to drive in a run. Homer got a pitch he could drive, and he drove it to deep left. Picks up an RBI, and the Marlins stretch the lead to 9-0. Toyota trend. Toronto was trying for the 5th all-time interleague road sweep. That one had a little more bite back in the third.
Not going to have
second inning.
Here's my thought on shifting. Now that the Marlins and all the teams are through with interleague play, I'm curious to see once we get back to National League teams, because we didn't see it as much against National League teams when the Marlins play the Cardinals or the Phillies, but with all the advanced scouts and having seen a lot of shifts from Cleveland to Tampa to Toronto here, it'll be interesting to check it out when the Marlins are playing National League teams.
Here's Dobbs, and he's 3 for 3 with a 2-run homer. Soft fly ball, left center. Rajai Davis a running catch to the 8th, and the Marlins on the smiling end of this one, 9-0. This has to feel good. A cleansing Sunday here. Miami up 9-0. Greg Dobbs making that final out. Gabby Sanchez will come into the ball game as part of a double switch. So Gabby at first. Greg Dobbs says, "I need a new glove." And he's out in left field.
Boy, checking out some of the strikeouts of Mark Burley. The breaking ball has worked. 3 strikeouts in his last inning of work, getting Johnson, Arancibia, and Laurie.
That are Acura pitch by pitch. And here's Chad Godin. And for Godin, we're talking about the Marlins being on the different end of a score like this. For Godin, he's the guy that the Marlins have turned to lately when they've been getting knocked around. So he comes in with a 9-0 lead. Colby Rasmus takes a fastball up. Rasmus, Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion for the Blue Jays. Sorry about that. On a hop. And Infante makes the play. That's what happens when you try to eat a whole Cliff Bar between innings. It kind of pops out of your mouth.
It's good energy, though, here in the 8th inning.
Now Bautista, who was walked, singled, and flied out. Bautista's base hit was back in the 6th. And Godin with a fastball up and in. Bautista wears at least he appears to have a pad on that left elbow. He does. But he has his sleeve over it, so it's not one of those big apparatus that straps around.
It's not an obnoxious pad.
It's not the whole Barry Bonds, bionic elbow thing.
Last thing's Miller.
That's the one that sticks in your mind, doesn't it? Here's the 1-1. Good breaking ball from Godin, and it counts 1-2. That Boston-Atlanta game has got a lot of things going on in it. 7-3 Boston leads Atlanta in the bottom of the 5th. That one fouled back. Cody Ross had a home run off of Mike Minor early, and he's done it again. A 3-run homer and a 2-run homer for Ross. So he's driven in 5 runs. Cody looked good against the Marlins coming off the disabled list, and he has kept it up.
Yeah, he had that big double. I'll tell you, he was happy to get back in the lineup after spending time on the disabled list.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Great one. Godin strikes out Bautista.
Well, that's a great pitch by Chad Godin, who's, we talked about it last time. He's in that role that doesn't get a lot of flair, but gets the job done and makes a great pitch there. The 9 runs the Marlins have scored today, it ties their season high. And just looking at this month, 6 times this month they've allowed 10 runs or more in a game. So nice to see the offense clicking, and nice to see the pitching and defense today too.
It would be nice to see the 10-run reel with the Marlins up 10.
Marlins won a game in extra innings. In San Diego they scored 9.
Liner at Infante. Chad Godin with a Burley-like 8th inning. Very quick. 9-0. nothing. If you're at the ballpark and you want some food and you don't really want to get out of your chair, maybe it's a Giancarlo Stanton at bat, maybe today a Greg Dobbs at bat. Well, all you got to do is have the free MLB.com at the ballpark app for your iPhone or Android device. Select Marlins Park and place your order once you've got that app loaded and ready to go. You'll get a text message when your order is ready. Go to Marlins.com and download At the Ballpark now. Tommy and I both have the At the Ballpark app on our phone, and the cool thing is, wherever we go, we just check the ballpark.
It keeps track of the ballparks in which we've been.
It keeps track of the games that you saw, the result. Got an A to Z guide for every ballpark. And if you stop on C, you'll see Francisco Cordero, who was in the game. Cordero, the well-traveled erstwhile closer, not the closer for this Blue Jays team. His breaking ball misses down low. Infante is doubled and flied out twice.
Might add too, Rich, it's also a free app.
Saw David Cooper at first base. Three and one. It is. Just go to the App Store. There's a strike. Next time we're in Philly, we have to, with the at-bat app, order
You can
a cheesesteak.
You can order one of the cheesesteaks.
Davis starts back.
And I'll order the barbecue pork platter from Bull's Barbecue.
I don't think I'm ordering a Schmitter, though.
No.
That was that monstrous sandwich in Philadelphia. Frank Fort polished one of those off.
Now your favorite cheesesteak at Citizens Bank is
whatever, the one in left center field.
I'm drawing a blank too because I just keep thinking of Geno's and Pat's.
Tony Luke's.
Yes, Tony Luke's.
Scott Cousins. So here I'm hopeful that I can order a Reyes of Sunshine smoothie. Cousins hits that ball to left and hits it pretty well. Davis goes back and he makes the catch.
How about when we go to Milwaukee? We can order a brat with secret sauce.
We could order a lot of beer too in Milwaukee, I think, at Miller Park.
Hey, we're there July 4th.
That's that. Wow, boy, that's gonna be so. That's always, no matter what day you go into Milwaukee for a baseball game, it's always a party, much like the Clevelander is. I don't know, Tommy, if that's on the app, but if it is, we'll find it. Not sure where to begin to look on the at-bat app for that. Breaking ball to Buck is a strike. John, a 3-run homer in the second. Struck out in the fourth. Bounced out in the sixth. 9-0. Miami on top. And Cordero misses down low. Sixth homer of the season for Buck. 411 feet to left center field. And it's 2-2. Nationals keep holding on to that 1-0 lead in Baltimore. The Phillies have scored first against the Rays. That's 1-0 in the 8th inning right now, with the Phillies on top. Here it's 9-0 Miami. Last shot for the Blue Jays coming up. More hit than the Blue Jays, but the Marlins have big hits in this one. 3-run homer by John Buck, 2-run homer by Greg Dobbs, 2-run triple by Hanley Ramirez, and an RBI single out of Scott Cousins. Chad Godin. Be nice if Godin could finish this and give the bullpen the rest of the day off.
Well, the other thing that would be nice if Chad Godin can finish this and shut down the Blue Jays in this inning. It would only be the second shutout for the Marlins this year. The only other shutout was that complete game shutout of Carlos Zambrano in Houston.
Yunel Escobar. Fastball up and in. Carlos Pena has just homered in Philadelphia, and the Rays have a 3-1 lead over the Phillies. So if the Rays can beat the Phillies and the Marlins can beat the Blue Jays, the Marlins would then extract themselves from last place in the East. That would be a nice feeling after being there for just one game. Liner to right. Stanton makes the catch. This should be a much more jovial Marlins Live presented by Checkers. Game recap, highlights, interviews. That's all coming up after the game. Rajay Davis takes a strike. Breaking ball, fly ball, left center, and it will fall. Dobbs will pick it up. Rajay Davis has a couple of hits, and Davis with 5 hits in the series. Be interesting to watch this Blue Jay team going forward. They certainly have a tall order in the American League East, especially down 3 starting pitchers. But as we've noted, other teams in that division have been dinged up. The Rays have got guys on the disabled list, key guys, Longoria, Hellickson on the DL, Neiman on the DL. Buchholz has joined Josh Beckett on the disabled list for Boston, and there's certainly a couple of really good outfielders on that list as well, with Ellsbury and Crawford. That went foul back to the screen. So who knows, with that second wild card spot, if the Blue Jays keep playing well, they're going to have to score a lot of runs. Kelly Johnson 0 for 3. To center, Cousins.
I would say the thing, Rich, that makes that a little tougher for a team coming out of the East this year is the fact that Cleveland and Chicago are playing well in the Central. With Detroit, who everybody thought was going to run away with it, coming into play today, 3.5 out. So you have teams in that division with 37 wins and playing well.
Aaron Sebia goes after the first pitch and drives it to right center field, hits it deep. Stanton goes back, track, reaches, ball game. Makes the catch, and the Marlins win a blowout. They end their 6-game losing streak. Mark Burley, a terrific start and some big hits in this one. John Buck got it started with the 3-run homer. Greg Dobbs had 3 hits, including a 2-run homer. We'll be back to wrap it up. 9-0. Marlins on top.